Hi everybody. How are you doing? It's Jane from Surface Anthology. As you can see, we're going to be working on something red today. So probably for Valentine's Day. Anyway, you can find me, by the way, Surface Anthology and also Chalk Mercantile. Chalk Mercantile is my shop. I had somebody ask me about that. So that's where you buy paints and all my supplies, all that good stuff. Chalkmercantile.com. Surfaceanthology.com is where you could join my Surface Anthology decorative painting membership. So you just head on over to surfaceanthology.com and click on membership. So picking up where we left off with this painting technique I'm doing and with the tins, I have to tell you, I really love this, and I am not going to be adding to them because I just love how this looks. It looks great on my shelf. I am probably going to add some wax to it, and I'll be sure to do that in a live so you can see how I wax. But look at this little tiny one. They're just so adorable, and I just love these colors together. And one of my vows for 2022 is to use colors that I love more. And I love red, and I love deep magentas, pomegranate reds, those kind of colors. So that's what I'm doing. Even on these small projects, it makes a difference, right? And I wanted to show you quickly too, the little ornaments that I made the other day. They're all dry. I'm going to show, hopefully my grandson Mateo is going to come over today. I'm in Connecticut and we're getting our nor'easter. So, and I'm looking at my window now and it is starting to snow. I'm excited. But these are the little ornaments that I made. I don't know if you can see with my lighting, but I put the German glass glitter on them and they just look really pretty. And he and I are gonna hang these around the house. My friend Joni suggested a Valentine tree. I have not gotten that up yet, but boy, I would love that. And I know Mateo would be crazy about that and making little Valentines. So another thing I really wanna check out. For this, I just got a board. This is just an old piece of plywood. Anytime I see scraps, I've been known to go into dumpsters. I know where all the woodworking shops are, and pull them out because they're the best for making projects, testing out new paint finishes. So that's what this board was for. And I did go over a demo that I did for my membership, and I just went over it with some paint, all those reds that I love. And what I want to do is create a Valentine wreath kind of on this piece. And I'm going to be using the Iron Orchid air dry clay in the molds. And if you have checked out my YouTube channel, I did one a while ago on a base of all Miss Mustard Seed milk paints, very kind of dark and moody. And it's white and it's just kind of a laurel wreath shape. And I just had so much fun doing that. I want to do it again, and obviously a different background and a different design. So I'm going to get at my clay here. And I know I'm going to use all this. I better use all this because I just cut up the packaging. So I'm using air dry clay, Iron Orchid air dry clay. I've got my Tight Bond glue. The other glue I love is Aleene's Tacky Glue. Cornstarch for the mold. And my molds, which I'm really bad about cleaning. But I just brought over a bunch of molds that I may or may not use. This is more of my intuitive creating. I didn't make a solid plan, so we'll see how they look. But to start with, to make the shape of the heart, I'm using the Laurel mold, which I use over and over again because it's got these beautiful long designs, you know, of the laurel, of the leaves that I can use to create the heart. So first thing we're gonna do is, I think I'm gonna move this out of the way so I don't get it covered with cornstarch. I'm gonna make a bunch of the long shapes with the air dry clay. So you grab your, I'm gonna use this to put them down on, your cornstarch, and I just have one of these inexpensive brushes to brush it in and just brush the inside of the mold with the cornstarch. My dogs are barking. And this is a really important step, is you don't want to have any issues with your molds coming out of the mold. You'll be frustrated, and this is just an inexpensive, really good way to prevent that from happening. I've used milk paint powder. I didn't have cornstarch, and I actually used milk paint powder in the molds, and it looks really pretty in the clay, and it kept it from sticking. All right, so once I do that, I'm just gonna take a clump of this clay and roll it into kind of a tube. Oh, and did I bring, there's one thing I always forget to bring, but I'll use wood this time. You do need to have a tool to push the clay off. And I'm gonna use a wood tongue depressor. A credit card works really, really well. Don't use anything metal because you can gouge your mold and ruin it. So I'm just pressing this in, and as the clay ages, it gets a little bit harder. So that's why I'm gonna make myself use all this clay. I'll do this side. Again, I'm just rolling it into a tube and pressing that in. Just like that. Now I'm going to take away some of the clay, and what I do with this tool, another good thing you can use is the Iron Orchid, you know, that plastic tool that they give you to burnish transfer down. That works really well also. But I'm just going to start, and I just kind of push away the clay. And again, this is a little bit old, so you don't want your clay sitting around a long time like mine. If you do, you just want to wrap it up better than I did. And here I go, just pushing this away. And you may wonder, why don't you just start at the bottom and push it all away? It just doesn't work well. And that's all I'm going to say. You could give it a shot. You might have a different technique than me. I tried it, trust me, to kind of move this along. Oh, this is a bad scene, man. It pushed the whole mold right up and distorted it. And this goes really quickly. And if you didn't hear me say before, you can use these for baking. You can use them for sugar work. I've seen the absolutely most gorgeous cookies and cakes made with these molds. All right. Now, to get the molds out, all you do is you bend the mold, and they just come right out like that. There you go. And I'm putting them down on a piece of cardboard. I'm sorry, my nose is so itchy. Okay, and then just bend the mold. Again, you just lift that out. And we're gonna be working with these molds while they're wet. All right, now I'm gonna do these 3. Same thing. There you go. And I'm going to release these, and then I get to use my new clay. The newer clay. Or no, the new clay, because I opened up that package. And this clay is actually paper, so I love it. A lot of people use resin, you know, epoxies, all that kind of stuff. And I haven't done that yet. It's just not something that I'm super interested in. And I couldn't tell you why. I love the feel of the paper clay. And I love how sometimes it will crack. It reminds me of plaster, all the old plaster work that you see in those grand houses. But if you really want a perfect mold, I bet the epoxies are the way to go, the resins. Okay, same thing. We just turn, and I'm just putting these right over. And now I'm gonna grab my new clay. And normally what I do is I wrap this up in an elastic band like this, like a couple of them, and then put them inside a like a Ziploc bag and kind of, you know, press all the air out of it. Okay, so we have one more, oops. And one more right down here. I'm gonna add, boy, I can tell the difference. It's really amazing. So I'm gonna smush this together a little bit. And once the clay dries out, there's no reconstituting it because it's air dry clay. So, and I've tried. So you have to use it, and when you're not using it, just keep it really stored well. Okay. This is a little bit of a meditation. It's so nice. Kind of just, you know, I don't even have music on a lot of times when I'm working, and I'll just listen to the noise I'm making while I'm working, listen to my dogs barking. I love hearing the birds outside. So that's the way I think about this kind of making. All right, we're gonna need more, so I'm gonna go back. Again, dusting the insides of the mold. Don't skip this step. And I'm gonna do this one also because I think I might. I love this bow mold. It's just beautiful. All right, I give it a little smack, get rid of the excess. And I think for today, I'm just gonna get the shape glued down to show you guys how I do that. one. Grab some more. You can also use these molds on furniture, which I have not done yet, but I bet it would look absolutely beautiful. All right, I'm going to do these two. Same thing. I'm just pushing that away. Like that. Put the excess aside. Now, I'm somebody who thinks that wreaths can be hung all year round. And I'm in Connecticut, so I know in New England, and I bet it's like this around the country, but everybody, we all leave our Christmas wreaths up until like February. And it's just, I don't know why people do, I do. But then you'll see the spring wreaths with the all different kinds of flowers, and it's just, you know, summer wreaths. And when you go down to the shore, you'll see them putting anchors, all kinds of ocean faring stuff, sailboats, oars. I used to sell so many oars at my shop, and people paint them, and they're really beautiful. All right, I'm gonna move over here to these. 1, 2, 3, 4. The other thing I see people using these molds for are decorating books, like the outsides of books. And they look so beautiful. The lock and key mold looks really beautiful outside of books. You know, you could carve out a book, put a little lock and key outside. Remember being a kid and having like little secret places to hide things. All right, there's one. I would tell you with these two, because they're so close together, don't do them at the same time like I am, because it's, when I'm removing the clay, it's pushing into its neighbor. Okay, and you just bend those out. And let's get our bow. So you guys, do you decorate for Valentine's Day? I know a lot of people do. And I see a lot of people with those little, they're tiered trays, and they put little seasonal decorations on those little tiered trays that are very cute. Okay, this is a big one. So I'm just pulling that clay away. Just like that. And now I think I'm going to wrap this up and we'll start. I'm probably going to end up doing a lot more molds because I want this to be kind of a really lush heart. Well, we'll see. We'll see how it looks before I make that decision. Okay, get this out of the way. And I'm gonna roll this out. And there's our little bow. How pretty is that? I now permanently have a vacuum cleaner in my crafting area. All right, here's the board. And I have a little natural bristle brush. This is what I'm going to use for glue. Push these molds aside so I have a place to put my bow. And of course I'm using the piece of cardboard that I was going to use as my palette for my mold. I'll just use a bowl for my glue. And this stuff is great to type on, and it's like the Aleene's. It's not as thick as Aleene's, so it spreads out a little bit easier, but they're both really good. And I also have water because I'll be putting my brush in there so I don't ruin it. All right, let's mess around with these now and see how they look as I form a heart. That means you're just going to plop these down while they're flexible and shape that heart. And I realized I only did one of these. Maybe I'll use so you really need to do this while they're wet. So you could kind of bend them around. Now there's a heart, and I'm leaving the bottom open like that for now for the bow. And it's all coming down really close to the bottom, so I'm gonna lift it up. Kind of leave these open because I'm going to be building upon this design. But you see how you can bring the middle down, that little cleft. It doesn't have to be absolutely even. And my idea is, again, I need to lift this up, is that I want to add, right, and overlap these pieces. So you see what I'm doing? I'm just kind of building upon the main. Hey Carol, thanks for joining me. Thank you. Isn't this a fun project? And you see how you can really get really creative with this. You just have to be willing to kind of mess around with these molds like this, right? And just kind of build upon them. So I'm liking how this is coming out. So what I'm going to do is take these overlapping ones, and a really helpful thing to do is grab your iPhone when you're making a design like this and snap a picture so you can refer to it when you're gluing stuff down. If you want, you know, because it's hard to remember when you're moving stuff around where it was when you really liked how it looked. So as I said, I just want to get the main gist here. And I'm going to move it over just a little bit, like that. And something I want to look at is if I bring this together at the bottom, and maybe I'll overlap. Yes, I like that. And I'll overlap that bow. So I'm going to show you how to glue these down. And I just take my natural bristle brush. Yeah, see, Carol, isn't that a good idea? Somebody told me to do that. I was like, wait a minute, where was that? I really liked it, and I can't remember where I had it. That's exactly what I do. I mean, another thing you could do too with this is you could mark it with a little piece of white chalk, something like that. But you know, I'm going to be building on this, so it doesn't have to be perfect. Who wants perfect anyway, right? So I just put this glue down, brush it on. Maybe I'll give this to my husband, who is working mostly remotely from home, and he could put it behind his head during Zoom calls. All right. So there, and you see me sliding this around. Oh, Carol, you're so sweet. I had so much fun. You guys, making this background with those 3 colors of paint. If you didn't see me, you could watch it on my Facebook Lives, the replays, or you could just go to my Surface Anthology YouTube channel because I post everything there. But this was just such a nice exercise, very freeing to do with paint. You just brush the paint around. Don't be self-conscious. It really loosens you up. It would look beautiful on a piece of furniture. Why not, right? So there's my first piece. Don't worry about those little bits of glue that are showing up because we're going to be layering, and I'm going to be waxing this later, so no worries. We might be doing some leafing, some gold leafing, because I love gold and red. All right, and just putting this glue on, and I'm being generous. I'm not going all the way to the edge because these do shrink a tad, but you need to experiment. See how your, technique is with that. Hey, Verla, thanks for joining. Oh, thank you. Valentine's is all about pretty, right? Pretty cookies, pretty chocolates, pretty pieces of jewelry for special people, right? All right, so I have that glue down. I am pressing. I want good contact. And let's get our tops of our hearts. And again, I'm just plopping that glue on. Moving around. Okay. And your fingers are going to get sticky. That is just the way it is. There's no avoiding that. There goes my brush. But there's that heart. And you want to press. You're going to see when I'm looking along the edge here, and I just want to press this down. Right? Just press it down, especially as the base. Right? I've got another brush here. Of course, it has paint on it. That's okay. All right, we're going to get this last piece. Once you get your idea down, your main shape here, the rest is really easy. And you know what, you guys, you can also draw a heart. You could draw a heart and just follow that too. There's a bunch of ways to get where you want to go, and none of it's cheating. It's all good. You can use a piece of chalk, so that way you could just rub away the drawing when you're done. Just no worries about how you get there. All right, I'm pressing. And there is that. What does Verla say? I never think to use this vine to make shapes, only boards. Oh, Verla, it's a whole new world. I go crazy with these. I think this mold, the Laurel mold, the lock and key, the frames, and the cameos mold, I use over and over. But this, I'm always making shapes. Check out the wreath that I did. It's on a dark background. It's a classic Laurel wreath. And see what you think, because I had so much fun. All right, and I'm just going to start plopping these in. And I find, I don't do a lot of borders because I always get nervous about the corners not meeting, especially with the trimmings molds. And everybody does such a beautiful job. I'm like, what is wrong with me? But I'm so nervous about them shrinking away. But I see people doing it and it's perfect. So I need to get over that fear and just do it. All right, so this is going to be a lot of filling. So I'm going to put these down. And we'll see how it looks. And the key is just be brave. The key is to just be brave and just do it, So you see, as I do this, you can see how this heart is going to end up kind of opening up and coming in. So I have to always kind of stay loyal to that shape. We don't want to lose the shape of the heart. But this is also a really nice exercise to kind of play with your creativity, right? Try something new. Push your boundaries a little, going outside of that original shape. So it's both kind of figurative and literal. And while they're wet, you just play with them, move them around. And there's all these wonderful little, when you look at the molds, like there's little crowns, little bees. We have all kinds of little tiny molds that we can then add in, There's one, and I don't have it near me right now, but it has just like little flowers that look so pretty in and amongst, these vines. So get out all your molds when you're doing something like this and put them in front of you, because you never know what might work, All right, so this one, just because I want to show you how I'm building this heart. So what I'm going to do now is actually I have two more pieces. This almost reminds me of the sea plants that you see. And that's what the other wreath looks like. I wish I had a picture here that I could pop on and show you. But it reminds me so much of that. But you see how you could cross these over. And it's very, very 3D. These look really beautiful in person. Verla says, I think this is a project you could keep out all year. Absolutely. Absolutely. The one, and you could see it, actually, there's the other wreath behind my, well, you see it in the corner on the floor. I move that around the house. When I know I'm gonna be on, I put it behind me. And yeah, why not? Absolutely. That's another thing I'm saying for 2022. I'm going to put stuff around that I like, that makes me happy, and I'm not going to worry is it right? Is it seasonal? You know, are people going to think I'm crazy putting a heart out? You know, who cares, right? They'll probably love it. It'll probably make them happy. And that's what it's all about. All right, so there's another little bit. Now this is going to really, really grow. Oh, this, Verla, this would be gorgeous. Verla said painting it in neutral. How beautiful would this be in all neutrals? And maybe some silver leaf, a little bit of gold leaf in there. It would be so gorgeous. Oh my God, I love that. Grays, you could go really cool grays with silver, or neutrals that are like tans, beiges, and add that little pop of gold. Love it. I think that's, I call that delicious. Delicious, Verla. I love it. Absolutely. Something I do too in my house is I'll put up a, you know those, what is it called? Command strips. You know, those command strips. But I'll put them up knowing that I'm going to move stuff on and off that hook. I'm going to, you know, maybe do seasonal, maybe I find something. But yeah, it would, Carol, right? That would look really beautiful. Carol, that's your assignment. Do it, make it, and show us. Carol, are you in the Painted Cottage Facebook group? Oh my gosh, I have to mention that. Our workshop's coming up tomorrow, and hopefully I'll have power. But post it. I would love to see what you guys make. Because when I see what other people make, it gives me and it inspires me too. And I just love, because each of you, you know, you have your own creative fingerprint. I could give everybody the same assignment, the same materials, and they could look completely different. Because what's totally unique is you know. All right, there's our little heart at the bottom. You're in Creative Junkies. All right. So put it in Creative Junkies. That's Joni's group, right? Joni is one of the instructors tomorrow, and I can't wait to see what she creates. She is fabulous. Everybody in there is. They're all so talented, and they have their own unique take on things, just like everybody does, right? We kind of lose. We get a little join. I know. Join Creative Junkies. It is. It's fabulous. Absolutely, Verla. And Joni does a lot of really beautiful projects. Very, very creative. That skate, what I'm thinking of now, she took an ice skate and she put on this beautiful transfer, black and white, and then she painted the blade. And I'm like, that is absolutely gorgeous. It's like so perfect for winter. Absolutely. All right. I'm leaving it here. And she's fun. Joni makes me laugh. Oh my God. She is. She's a lot of fun. She's absolutely adorable, beautiful. And she has that irresistible accent. She's down in Alabama. And she's a Southern belle. She's just wonderful. I am going to leave this, you guys, now. I'm going to keep working on it because it's very, very raw. But I'm going to keep making my molds. And I'm going to keep adding to it. So when I see you guys back, I'll probably go live on Monday. Tomorrow, you got to join me in the Painted Cottage Facebook group for our mini marathon. We have 4 decorative painters, 4, who are all going to be teaching a really cool workshop. So join us in there. But I'm going to keep building and building and building until I get this like I want it. And then we'll go on to the next step after that. Carol, Verla, thank you so much, you guys, for joining me. This was a lot of fun. I hope you have a wonderful day today. happy painting, happy creativity. Make sure you join us over in the Painted Cottage, and I'll see you guys really soon. Bye. Oh, so Carol's asking what time. All right, now I'm Eastern. I'm in Connecticut. But we have the post up. It starts at, we put all Central time. So it starts at 10 Central. Okay? So 10 Central, and we have Kim going on first. Kim of For the Nest. She is another very, very talented decorative painter. Then we have Tammy of Flippin' Furniture, who does these absolutely amazing pieces, another talented woman. Then we have me, Jane, of Surface Anthology, and then Joni is going to be on of Weathered Wings and Creative Junkies. Oh, you're welcome, Carol. I hope to see you in there. If you're not, if you don't watch the live, you can't catch them all, they're going to be replays. You'll definitely be able to check those out also. And we all have a raffle, so you all have 4 chances to win prizes. Again, Verla and Carol, thanks for joining me. This was so much fun. I'm going to keep working on this heart. It's nowhere near being done, and I'll see you again soon. Have a good Friday, you guys. Bye-bye.